Attorney, there were observations filed by both the prosecution and the defense. Siguro doon muna tayo sa prosecution's observation. Can you break this down for us?
Well, on the part of the prosecution and the victims, so tatlo sila actually, yung prosecution at saka victims ay kumbaga sumasang-ayon doon sa sinabi ng mga legal experts at kumbaga sinusuhayan na talagang kaya ni Duterte based on facts na tumayo o harapin yung kaso laban sa kanya. At kahit pa sinasabi ng defense, ang sabi niya ay meron kasing may minor discrepancies, may tanong tungkol sa extent of the kumbaga condition of Duterte. Karamihan kasi dito ay redacted kaya hindi natin masabi specifically, pero kung ano't ano man meron daw extent of the condition. Hindi niya sigurado, sabi ng isang expert, pero nagbibigay daan ako dito sa isang expert na mas alam ito. Tingin ko ito yung geriatric psychologist na tumingin kay Duterte kasi ito ay kumbaga medical expert na ang expertise ay tumingin sa matatanda sa kanilang psychological health. Kaya ultimo, ang sinasabi ng depensa ay, ito medyo magkaiba ang kanilang opinyon. Pero kung sa amin, hindi ganon kalaki ang diferensya at sa totoo, lahat sila pare-pareho ang conclusion na una, kayang maintindihan at masundan ni Duterte ang kung anong mang mangyayari sa korte. Pangalawa, kaya niyang harapin sa lagin, i-contest yung charges laban sa kanya. Kung may nirereklamo, kaya niyang mag-voice out ng kanyang defense. And certainly, kaya niyang magbigay ng instructions sa kanyang defense counsel kung paano haharapin ito. Ultimo, fit to stand trial. Kaya ang panawagan namin doon sa judges na final say patungkol dito ay i-affirm na fit to stand trial si Duterte at i-reset na, i-reschedule ang confirmation of charges hearing.
But the Duterte camp is contesting yung recent medical exam. They are saying that there are certain inconsistencies. Can you tell us more about this, attorney?
Well, the inconsistencies turn out to be minor details. One is, again, the extent of the condition. I would say this would pertain to his memory. Almost all of them say that there is some form of memory loss. One says, it's only short-term memory loss. Kumbaga, nakalimutan kung saan naiwan yung damit, saan naiwan yung gamit. Yung isa naman sabi, oo, may short-term memory loss, pero yung matagal nang nangyari, naaalala niya yan. Kaya kahit pa sabihin natin na may pagkaulyanin na, hindi ganun kalala para makalimutan niya yung nangyari, particularly noong panahon ng war on drugs. Kaya sabi nung parehong experts, kung ang tatanungin, kaya ba niyang harapin ang charges? Kaya.
His lawyers, FPRRD's lawyers are saying na magiging problema itong short-term memory loss. Halimbawa, kung in court, maaalala niya yung certain evidences, pero pagkadating daw sa time na comparing one evidence against another, baka hindi na niya ito maalala. Do you think this is possible? And hindi ba ito nakikitang concern by the doctors who have evaluated FPRRD?
Well, it is. It would be a concern if his short-term memory affects his, kumbaga, long-term memory. But then, his defense will be able to build their case for over a long period of time. Second, the source of information will not only be Duterte. There are others who may be willing to come forward, and in fact, the prosecution in the course of their investigation have submitted, I think, around 5 pieces of exculpatory evidence. Kumbaga, ang ICC medyo stricto yan eh. Kunin ang lahat ng impormasyon at kung may impormasyon na natalisod na nagpapawalang sala kay Duterte, kailangang ibigay sa defense. Kaya kung ako, partida yon para sa kanila. Ilang buwan na ang nakalipas para maghanda siya ng depensa niya. At in the course of trial, ang mauuna naman ay prosecution. Kaya hindi kailangan na kaagad-agad depensahan niya ang sarili niya kapag may nagsalitang witness. May proseso po ito Kaya para sa akin, yung una yung proseso, tapos pangalawa yung tamang paghahanda nila ang ah, kumbaga makakapag-alleviate, makakapagpagaan itong issue sa short-term memory loss. Tamang paghahanda lang talaga.
The findings of this medical evaluation, gaano ito kabigat para sa magiging desisyon ng pre-trial chamber?
Well, I would say it would compose about maybe 50% of the decision. But of course, I wouldn't know that for the judges. But if I were a judge and the the issue calls for a factual finding, ang tanong, meron ba yang problema sa pagkakaintindi? Meron ba yang problema sa pagsasalita o pagko-communicate? Meron ba yang magiging problema na ah, hindi niya mahahanda ang kanyang depensa? Mukhang sa akin, the facts should speak for itself. As a judge, I would say that they should be also able to appreciate, or it would have been best if they were able to see Duterte himself. The only time that they were able to kumbaga, appreciate for themselves the demeanor of the suspect was during the initial hearing. He, I would say, lost the chance to have demonstrated whatever infirmities he had during the previous hearing. Kung maalala po natin, nagpatawag kasi yung, well, appeals chamber ito. Yung appeals chamber nagpatawag ng open court hearing o pagbabasa ng desisyon patungkol doon sa interim release. Hindi po siya nagpakita.
Attorney, if 50% ang sa independent panel of expert, what would make up yung other 50%?
Of course, the observations of the prosecution, defense, and then the victims. Especially for the defense, and you're right, you've been kumbaga, quoting from the defense observations. I would have to take in all their information that they've submitted kung meron bang pagkakamali ba, and yung experts, meron ba silang hindi natingnan, because the defense would be certainly on their toes as to what is the actual condition of the suspect. But I mean, me looking at all the information, I think the defense has already submitted everything, including some initial medical information, which they submitted in part for the interim release and for the fitness to stand trial. Ang medyo pareho kasi yung batayan. Ang sinasabi, palayain nyo na po muna si Duterte at kumbaga, i-dismiss ang kaso dahil hindi na siya okay. In fact, dito sa fitness to stand trial, sa competency issue, natalo na sila doon sa kumbaga interim release. Hindi pinayagan ito nung nakaraang buwan. Inuulit nila yan dito sa fitness to stand trial dahil ang hiling nila, habang hindi pa napagpapasyahan itong competency, ay dapat palayain siya. Hindi pa ito kumbaga pinapansin ng judges dahil nga may nauna ng desisyon na kumbaga, hindi siya qualified to be released.
Attorney, the Duterte camp is now requesting for an evidentiary hearing to test itong findings ng medical evaluation. Is this necessary? What are your thoughts on this?
I don't think it's necessary. In the previous in the previous proceedings involving fitness or competency issues, there was no evidentiary hearing held. In the sense that the experts were just able to submit their reports, and that's it. It's up for the judges really to appreciate. At this point, the judges have everything on hand. The only remaining question is, hindi nga sa kung sinong paniniwalaan pero kung ano ang bibigyang bigat. Kaya madali lang naman to na issue, lalo na kung sinasabi ng eksperto, wala namang ganun kalalang sitwasyon. At ang isang punto pa nga namin, iba sabi fitness to stand trial. Pinoint out ito ni Judge Flores Liera. Trial nga, hindi pa tayo magta-trial. Nasa pre-trial stage tayo. Kaya we should proceed with the pre-trial hearings, which is precisely the confirmation of charges, and then proceed with maybe fitness to stand trial when trial starts. In any case, nandito na tayo, pero for us, it is imperative that the confirmation of charges hearing be rescheduled as soon as possible.
Attorney, what people want to know is if in the eventuality he is found to be unfit for trial, ano ang mangyayari?
Hindi po siya basta-basta palalayain, kung yun po ang sinasabi. At pangalawa, hindi po siya basta-basta lalong-lalo na pauuwiin. Ang Dutch government, ang ICC, sa pakikipag-ugnayan sa Dutch government, ay gagawa ng paraan para kumbaga maaksyonan ang kanya or matugunan ang kanyang sitwasyon. Katulad ng ang tinatawagan natin institutionalization, pagdala siguro sa kanya sa ospital, sa isang dementia village, sikat dyan ang Netherlands. Sa pagpapauso nila niyan, isang self-sustaining kumbaga village for dementia sufferers. Kung sakaling yun ang kanyang punto. Pero it will be institutionalization rather than outright release.
So hindi pala siya basta-bastang ibabalik sa Pilipinas if this happens?
Certainly, no. The thing is, merong problema Kumbaga, yung suspect, yung akusado, kaya dapat i-address yon. And the proper way to address that would be to seek medical attention. The other part of this issue is, so paano kung nadala na siya sa ospital? Paano kung maging okay siya doon? The ICC treats this condition, yung fitness to stand trial, this circumstance, as dynamic rather than static. Ngayon, posibleng hindi ka okay. Pero kung kunyari, medyo ginamot ka o natulungan ka na iba yung sitwasyon mo, baka maging okay ka na. Kaya dynamic. They will check the situation of the detained every 120 days. So yung medical check-up will be regular henceforth if he is found unfit to stand trial. Ang punto din kasi dito, this is someone who has been accused of grave, heinous crimes. Why? Simply release them out into the public when they can and they might be a threat to public order.
With the confirmation hearing still pending, Attorney, what is the key timeline that you expect from the ICC?
Well, January is the month where I am expecting the decision on the fitness to stand trial. Unfortunately, the court is on recess now from December 12th up to January 5th. But coming back into 2026, when they go back to their offices, they will be confronted with all these submissions. I'm hoping that they have a decision within that month, January. The confirmation hearing, hopefully within the first quarter, and then trial proper by the end of the year.
Okay, maraming salamat sa iyong oras. ICC Assistant to Counsel Attorney Cristina Conti.
Salamat, Ann. Ingat.